Look, I realize that this kind of thing probably happens a lot for you and that it's no big deal.
What, have sex with a colleague in the office? No, that's a first for me. I also don't make a habit of sleeping with married women.
It's irrelevant.
That is what is happening now, but of course we all loved her as the pretty tomboy on Who's the Boss, and she cast a spell on us in Charmed. But nor witch nor tomboy no more. Alyssa Milano is taking on a steamy role in the ABC drama Mistresses, and we're lucky that she stopped by to chat with this new role.
Thank you
to chat
for having me.
about this new role.
Thank you for having me. Yeah,
about something like throw in your own prepositional choice on there. Congrats on this.
Thank you. Yeah, it's very exciting. I'm so glad that people seem to really like the show.
It was definitely hot over the summer. Is it going to continue into the fall?
No, it would definitely not continue into the fall. If we got picked up for a second season, which we don't know if we're picked up yet, it would continue on as a summer series, which is kind of nice. It kind of fits perfectly, I think, for summer.
It's absolutely. I mean, as everyone else is sweating out there, you can kind of see the steamy romances
exactly.
that you four ladies are often getting yourselves into.
Yeah.
Anything in the script that you ever kind of looked at and said, I don't know if that fits with my character.
Every week I'm like, oh, I can't believe I'm doing this show. But you know, when I first got the original offer for the pilot, I was so concerned about the title because I didn't want to be involved in a show that was going to glorify or glamorize adultery. But I read the script and I thought that the writers did such a great job at really capturing the struggle of what people go through in relationships and what people go through when they mess up in relationships. And I think that's the thing that we've done really well, is try to stay true to how hard it is to be in a relationship, how hard it is to make it work, and the fallout when you step outside of the relationship, which my character does in the first episode.
Well, and there's definitely some strong writing in that, so I think certainly captured that point. Talk to me about Who's the Boss. 8 seasons. Can you call it the best gig you've ever had?
I think every gig while I'm in it is the best gig I've ever had. Yeah. I mean, there's very little I remember from Who's the Boss because I was so young when we started. I was 10 when we shot the pilot and 11 the first season, and I always say, like, how much do you remember when you were that age? You don't remember your daily, habitual things, but you remember birthdays and Christmases and things like that. So that wasn't any different for me. Charmed was really special because those are just special years in your life. We were on for 8 years as well. And we just became very close. We were a very, very, very close crew. In fact, we're going to have a little Charmed reunion at my house in a couple of weeks.
Fantastic.
So we can see everyone under happy circumstances. Yeah.
I think a lot of people like to hear that because, what we see on screen is this great unit, whether it be a family or whether it be a group of friends. And we see them working so well together as actors, and we oftentimes wonder, do they really get along that way off
and not
screen?
only that, but what you don't get to see is the chemistry between everyone else that works so hard to make a series successful, like the crew members and the transpo guys and craft services and the sound guys, and that's what really becomes a family.
Well, speaking of family, you have a 2-year-old son.
I do.
Would you have, congratulations,
Thank
keeping
you.
you busy, I imagine.
Oh, very busy.
Would you ever let him get into the acting business?
Before Milo was born, I would have said absolutely not. There is no way I will ever let him do that.
All right, so what was the change?
What I realized is really a baby just kind of comes out with a certain thing and a certain personality. And the best thing you can do as a parent is to nurture who they are innately as a person. And that is already apparent. So if he were to decide, at an early age that he wanted to do it, I think the only thing I could do is be supportive.
Because you escaped the trappings that often comes with childhood acting. And obviously went on to have a very successful career beyond that. But I mean, at the same time, you had a good support system.
I had a great support system. I had parents with a very healthy marriage. And I think that is key. A lot of these kids have very, where you see that they walk down the wrong path, have really hard family lives, regardless of whether or not they're in entertainment, So I think that these kids would have had a hard time no matter what they chose to do with their lives.
What about, and I want to talk to a little bit about sort of your family, and because the fact that, as you said, you grew up on a stage and you grew up in such a public way. What about your exposure, like your son's exposure to the paparazzi and to the press? Because there's a lot of attention being placed right now about potential paparazzi laws that essentially would claim it as being harassment. Halle Berry, Jennifer Garner, really at the forefront of that. Have you had an experience?
Oh yeah. I mean, there are family pictures of us, you know, in different places in LA where in the background you can see paparazzi. Look, in any other world, if a group of grown men were surrounding your child and, say, yelling obscenities, that would be harassment. So I'm not sure why, because they're just holding a camera, it's any different. It's terrifying. For me, I just try very hard to make it seem as normal as possible for him, because I never want, he's gonna have to deal with it. And I never want to put him in the position where he knows it's something that's scary or bad. So, like, if we see paparazzi, you know, I'll say things like, they want to take your picture because you're so handsome, you know, and
right.
I'll say, like, say cheese, because if I react the way that instinctually I want to react, which is, you know, that mama bear instinct, it's just going to make him terrified. And I don't want him to grow up with that sort of view of that. But it is really hard.
Yeah. So with dealing with that, and of course chasing around a 2-year-old, how do you relax? You've teamed up with Febreze.
I have, and I'm really excited about the partnership. Look, here's the thing that I learned right after I had my child, when I was absolutely exhausted. Everyone makes such a big deal about getting your baby to sleep through the night.
Right.
And so much of that is a bedtime routine.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know where along the way we as adults have lost that concept.
In losing our own routines.
Yes.
Right.
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 And we have no bedtime routine. So I think Febreze was I made a conscious decision to start to incorporate a bedtime routine when I went back to work with mistresses, because I just needed some time to myself, because I was either working or... and Febreze was very smart. They came up with this this collection called Sleep Serenity, and it is basically scents specifically for the bedroom.
That's great.
So, you know, it's clinically proven that sleeping in a pleasant smelling room helps you to sleep better, makes your sleeping experience more relaxed. So they just took that and went with it.
Sleeping well, doing very well. Alyssa Milano, thanks for stopping by.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Good.